Hey, welcome here, everybody. I think the world of art education is just magical, and art teachers really are the magicians because you're not only creating these amazing things in your classroom, but you are connecting people, and that's how I met today's guest. Leah Keller from Adam's Friendship had Jeanne Sytczinski, also known as Mrs. Jeannie, as an artist and an author and illustrator in residence at her school, and I got to volunteer. It was so much fun. So I want to welcome Mrs. Jeannie. She's going to talk, we're going to start with her books because that's where it all started, and then we're going to talk about the process, and I'm going to probably just interrupt along the way. So
That sounds great.
welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here too, and I'd like to thank Nasco and you for inviting me here today.
Oh, thank you.
My books, this is my first book. My first book is Mama, How Does the Wind Start to Blow? A counting story that will blow you away. And so it's a fun counting book with, like I said, with a chart in the back. So not only is it a sweet story about how the wind starts to blow, it also has a number chart in the back for kids to trace, to do one-to-one counting with.
I love that too, because there's some math in there.
Yeah, some math, which is really wonderful, and like I said, a sweet little story about how the wind starts to blow. The next one, Papa, Why Does the Sun Shine? A counting story that will brighten your day. And this one also has the counting line in the back. I really got my first award on my Mama book, and then didn't really know how I got my award, so I thought I would try again. So I have two counting books about a mom's love and a dad's love.
I love that.
My third book, Who Will Be My Friend, is a sweet little book about friendship and diversity. And again, has a lot of science in it. It's a narrative nonfiction at a very young age. And as I turn to one of the pages, all of them are sweet, but I really like the little robin. It has a fact on each page about the bird, the woodland bird. And it's about a little owl who's looking for a friend, and of course she is up at night and the other woodland birds are not. And this little firefly is trying to be her friend, but she doesn't really see the firefly at first. And in the end they make friends, and she's not a bird, the firefly is not a bird, but they do have something in common. They're both up at night.
Yep.
And then at the back of the book, again, that nonfiction piece of the different characters that are in the book and the nonfiction about that bird.
So I know that I was at elementary, and from K to 5, they all loved it. Fifth graders loved it equally as much as the kinders and the pre-K. But these books are sort of pre-KK?
Yeah, this one is more like, because of the narrative nonfiction, is more like a second grade and under.
Okay, perfect.
And then the 1 through 10 books are more of a kindergarten pre-K.
But like I said, all of elementary loved it. And it was so much fun because the friend book, in a world full of social and emotional learning and all kinds of important be kind messages, are just beautiful.
Yeah, and if you're doing an art project from making the paper or the way I illustrate, it's just nice to have an example too.
Absolutely.
For the students.
So from there, we partnered with Mrs. Jeannie, and I'm so excited because we have a kit that includes many of what you see in front of us, and her lesson plan and this amazing poster. So again, keep talking, and I'll try to zip it.
When I met Chris at Adam's Friendship, I was struggling with the paint that I was using, and I was really looking for a paint that was came in a bigger bulk, good quality, and Chris then asked me if I would try her, of course, Nasco acrylic. I thought it was absolutely amazing. The one thing I struggled with was the choices of color. And so I took it upon myself just to start grabbing some of their paint and mixing it together. But I started with all of their paint. And at the end, I narrowed it down for teachers that they could buy 9 colors of the Nasco acrylic. And with those 9 colors, could make 20 colors. And so when you're done, you have the 9 basic colors, and then you have 29 colors kind of when you get done. And once you start mixing, you will have lots of different colors, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah, and it's way fun, very, very easy because it's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yep. So if you want to make a larger batch of the paint, you can start out with a 1/2 cup or a 1/4 of a cup, depending on what you want to make. And it's just same measurement to same measurement. So it's 1
Yes.
to 1, 1 to 2.
Right.
So even students can do this. You, as a teacher, I know that you are all busy. You would be able to just hand this off to a student after explaining how to mix it, and they would be able to do that for you.
And then you get these beautiful colors.
Yeah, very nice. And so when I'm in my studio or when I'm out at an art in residency, up till now I've used newspaper because that's kind of how I started. In my books, I've always painted on newspaper. And just recently I've kind of went to a little bit of newsprint or newsprint, the solid, because some artists in residencies that I go to do not want the print to show through.
Right,
But
right.
either way, it's about a 28-pound paper is what it is.
And clearly, newspaper is
Yeah.
easy to get a hold of and is going to not have a cost to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it gives you a choice, it gives you a little bit of that. I like the way the newspaper looks. I think that it adds character and it's very cool, but it is nice to know. And if for some reason, based on the news and different things that are on
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
if somebody doesn't like that, there's choices.
To start my process, I take, and these are the newsprint, but I also have some here that have been printed on newspaper so that you can see a little bit of the difference. But in either way, I start out with a solid. I always paint a solid print across the whole paper. And I'll give those to you. And then from that solid print, then I let it dry, and then we go over it with a second color. So when you're using the tools that are over here on the side, that you can kind of see, there's texturing tools, and I call them printing tools. This obviously is a, you want to hand me one of those little texture tools?
You betcha.
Yeah, there are commercial texture tools that you can print and stamp. There are the combs, like this one was done with a comb, 2 different probably size combs that I pulled off the paint, the top layer paint to the second layer paint. Sometimes I do the printing on top, and then after I print, I do stamping. So the kids do the same thing. These papers here that I brought in were papers that were done by students that I kind of did I just grabbed a few from the last time that I was at a school. Because you can see they're very successful with printing and patterning. I think it's very therapeutical. Once they get into stamping, as you can see, and patterning, they're stamping across the sheet, and then they're thinking of another color, maybe a complementary color, maybe a color that is in the same hue, but one is darker and one is lighter. You know, they're just mixing, putting papers together. So once they've got their papers made, which are I just think they're gorgeous.
Honestly, when I was there, even the ones that were a little askew were still beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when you went to go collaging, and I'm jumping the gun here, it just is so exciting.
Yeah,
I get cracking up too, though, because I just love a plastic fork.
Yeah.
I mean, and in the kit, you're going to get some of the, tools like this.
The commercial
but
tools.
It is nice to just gather up those things. It's fun for kids to bring in cars and sort of like the Lego-like building things.
I forgot to
schools
go. I
and
forgot to go
parks.
to the other things that they could do from home.
Yeah.
Because I use a lot of the things that I used in my kindergarten classroom. So I have Legos and wood blocks.
I like to throw in, if you really want to throw in some more technology, you can create some textures on your 3D printer too. Always thinking about that.
So that's, like I said, that's once you make the paper, it's hard to start cutting it apart because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But for a project, you do have to cut it apart. I just have some papers here. I have some cattails that I put together this morning, and then I just wanted to show you that as you cut them, I kind of cut my papers to the size of what we're making.
Yep.
So if we were making a duck, I would cut a body. I would cut a size of like a wing. I would cut a neck and a head because they're kind of together. And then we have a beak. I know, that's a lot to hold there. And then an eye, and I think I dropped the other one, but a white and a black eye to go onto that duck. So that the students are not wasting the paper that they've painted. And I don't want to say wasting because...
But you know
you
that,
do wanna,
that one hole right
in the middle, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So you want to cut it appropriately to their size of what you're making and making sure that you have enough paper for all. The thing with the paper is that it is a community paper. When the students are printing,
I love that.
yeah, nobody writes their name on it because when I'm doing this project, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I needed 5 or 6 pieces of different color
So
paper.
you
There would be no way that every student would paint that many colors.
Right, and so you put them in
Yeah.
all these different colors, and
they
it-
can come and
yeah.
choose.
And it is,
And
yeah.
they might find the one that they made, but they also will find other ones that are just as
They'll
gorgeous.
lie anyways
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be like, I made this one. I only say that because that's what I did. Anyways, you will find more information at on the Nasco Educate K-to-Career resource platform. If you have questions today for Mrs. Jeanne or about the kit or the process, please email me at kbaki@nascoeducation.com. We're going to do some more short videos and we'll put them together with the kit on Nasco Educate, but we can't thank you enough for joining us today. Mrs. Jeanne, you are a delight.
Oh,
and
thank you.
the books are, in and of itself, are just charming and meaningful. You make a difference in our world, and I can't thank you enough for being
Oh.
here. Thank you to all the art
Thank you.
educators who have invited Mrs. Jeanne to their classroom, and if you have information about that, your website.
Is just mrsjeanne.com, where they can follow me on Jeanne Sytczinski on Instagram. And then I kind of post all the things that I'm doing at different schools.
Fantastic, and guaranteed when she goes into a school, they post it on their Instagram too. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.